Good day, everybody. Welcome to Belita's World. Today, we're going to be talking about Social Security disability. Now, a lot of people may not know that if you become disabled, you may be entitled to receive benefits from Social Security Administration. And if you paid in enough, your children and spouse may also be entitled to benefits on your record. And this does not affect the amount of disability you may be entitled to. So let's get into it. I'll tell you a little bit about Social Security disability and how that works. Social Security disability is a program where you worked and paid into the system. Now, I know some people is going to say, that's not true because I get a check and I've never worked and I'm disabled. We're talking about Social Security disability insurance. There's also Social Security supplemental income, which in 1974, the federal government took it over from the states because it was too much for them to handle. So now it's all handled through Social Security. So yes, a person who's never worked and paid in the system, if they meet the criteria for Social Security disability benefits based on income, they may be entitled to get a check even though they've never paid in the system. That is a based on need program, okay? But right now we're going to talk about the one where you worked and paid in the system, which is Social Security disability insurance. That's based on the years you've worked and paid in. If you did not work and pay in, you will not be entitled to Social Security disability insurance. Not unless you have a deceased spouse, which you can look at my last vlog on survivor benefits. And I mentioned that in that video. If you become disabled and your husband was the primary breadwinner and he passed away, you may be entitled once you turn age 50, if you're disabled, you may be entitled to disability benefits on his record. Now, the main criteria for this disability, any disability benefits from Social Security, you have to be disabled or expect to be disabled for at least 12 months or more. That means unable to work. I'm not talking about, say, you work for the Parks and Recreation and you have to do a lot of walking on that job. You have a disability now, you say you had a spinal injury or you broke a leg and it's too much on you on that one leg to do what you used to do, and they don't have nothing for you to do. Well, that's not saying that we would consider you disabled because you done messed up your one leg. We would look at it and see if there's some other jobs that you can do. So that's the key. But you do not try and make up that determination. Let us make that determination for you. If the doctors say you are not going to be able to work for at least 12 months or more, fill out the application. Go online and fill out the application. It's better to be safe than miss out. I see a lot of people miss out on income for years because they didn't think they would be entitled because they thought they could go to work. And here it is 3 years later, they're still unable to work. So the minute you find out that you will not be able to work for at least 12 months or more, go online, fill out the application, and we'll let you know if you are insured or not for the disability benefits. Now, when it comes to Social Security disability, if when you file for these benefits, I want you to make sure you gather all your medical evidence. Like if you with Kaiser, you can get your medical records offline. You go in there, you figure out how to do it, you click on the little button that says medical records, and your whole history is going to come up. It's best for you to print out your own medical documentation and drop it off at the local office. And that way they can get your application together. Once you've submitted it online, you take the documents in. They have a drop box, or you can take a number and hand them over to the representative, and she will put it in the system. Now, the reason I say take them in and hand them to the person, because now we have a track record. When you go into Social Security, there's a kiosk. You're going to punch in your Social Security information. They're going to know you went into that office. And you can choose documents, let them know you're dropping off medical documents. Each office is set up a little different with what they have for your choices, but you can always drop off your medical documents and they'll get it to the representative who's working your case. Now, it's a whole lot to disability, and I don't want to overwhelm you. So the reason I say for you to get your medical evidence, if you have it, if you're able to get it and turn it in, is because that helps move things along for you. It takes Social Security, depending on what area you're in, a while to make a determination. In California, I've seen people wait 5 months to a year to get their first determination. Normally, if you get all that paperwork in right away, you can get your answer back sometimes 4 to 5 months, sometimes a little sooner, very rarely any sooner than that. But that's why it's imperative that if you think you're disabled and unable to work for at least 12 months or more, to go online and do that application. The application is very long, is not something that you can get online and do in 30 minutes. If you did it in 30 minutes, then you didn't do it correctly. And when you go online and start the application, you don't have to have everything right there when you start the application. Just get started. But make sure you're gathering all your evidence, all your prescriptions, all your medical evidence that you can get offline. Like I said, most hospitals have where you can go online and you can get your own medical records. Now, with that being said, I also want to let you know, Social Security, we do assist with getting medical records. But the problem with that is, even if you turn in medical records, we'll have you sign a form where we can reach out and try and get medical evidence as well. The reason it's good for you to get your own medical records, because now you're depending on someone else giving us your information. And 35 years with the agency, I have seen quite a few cases get denied due to lack of evidence. My sister is on disability. She's a cancer survivor, and she has a lot of other ailments, so she'll never be able to go into the workforce. And I tell you, you can tell your family what to do, but they don't listen, just like you can tell friends what to do and they don't listen. Well, lo and behold, she got denied um, for her initial filing. She got denied for her reconsideration. She went, by the time she got denied the second time, she came to her sister and I told her what we needed. She still didn't listen. We get before the judge. The judge see a little bit of her medical records, and she gets to look over what's been turned in. This is once you get to the hearing level. You get to go over the records and see what's been submitted by your doctors. Well, lo and behold, when we were going through her medical records, it was a lot of valuable information missing. So this is the reason she had got denied. They didn't have quite a few hospital stays. They didn't have, when she passed out and was unconscious for a couple of hours and had to be rushed in an ambulance. So that's why I say it's imperative for you to get your own information, because we don't know what should be in your files. And you don't want to get denied when you need your benefits, because that can lead to years. Yes, years. It took my sister 3 years before she got approved for her benefits. It wouldn't have took her 3 years had she listened to me. Now, everyone I have that have accepted my help and me explaining to them what they need to do and how they need to do it, mind you, you have to be disabled. They got their benefits the first go around. No, I didn't do nothing magical. I have nothing to do with it. I can just assist you and tell you, hey, you need to do this, this, and this in order to get your disability. So she eventually got it. But I want you all to be your best advocate for yourself and get your medical documentation, get your prescriptions, all that, and turn it in to Social Security. Now, I'm going to go back to working. Remember, I wrote down me some notes as well. Remember, you must, for Social Security disability insurance, you have to have work. Now, they also have what's called Family Max. And out of the Family Max, when you do that application, it's going to ask you, are you married? Have you had any marriages that lasted 10 years or more? It's also going to ask you, do you have any children? Like I said, 35 years, I've seen people lie. More people tell the truth than lie. But I've seen enough lies in these applications to whereas it affects your family. The Family Max is for the entire family. You will get paid a portion of that if you paid in enough, and then the remainder will be divided up amongst your family, your minor children, and your spouse if they don't work and the kids is under a certain age may be entitled. So when you're filling out that application, make sure you put your minor children's names in the application. Make sure you put your spouses in the application. Even your ex-spouse, if you were married to them for 10 years, you need to put their name in the application, because guess what? They're going to eventually file an application. They're going to mention you. We're going to pull up your old application and we're going to say, oh, well, he didn't mention. She's going to provide proof of marriage and divorce. She's still going to be entitled when that time comes. However, I'm saying this to say it will not affect your monthly benefit. So leaving them out, you're not hurting nobody, you're hurting your family. and you could be hurting yourself, especially if these are your children. All right. Now, Social Security average disability person will get about $1,400, 1483. That's the about the average. Some people gonna get way less. Some people get a lot more. These is estimated amounts for 2023. Now, once you have went online, did your application, these are some things that you need to make sure you have on top of that. They're going to be asking you about your employers, who you work for, how long you work for them. So you need to get all that information and have it ready so you can put it in the system when you start that application. Once again, just go ahead on and get started. Like, I will go in, start filling out the beginning part of the application. Then I'll spend a day and gather all my other gather all the information that I'm telling you about, or that's on the in the application that they're asking for. And that way, when you do it, you can just start inputting that information. Now we're going to go over something else. We're going to go over state disability, workers' compensation. If you get state disability, if you get workers' compensation, all that's going to be asked in the application. Be truthful, because we contact the state agencies. We have access to some state agencies, and we work back and forth with each other. Workers' comp, we will check to see if you say no to workers' comp and you get workers' comp, it could affect you big time later on down the line, because workers' comp run out the minute we get the paperwork showing that you got workers' comp, because we do get the information from the IRS and the other disability agencies and things like that. That will impact how much you will receive. You will be offset. Your Social Security disability will be offset based on your state disability or your workers' compensation. However, once those benefits run out, then your benefit will be adjusted to the higher amount. Now, if you have children, your children's benefit will be offset before we touch your benefit. So if we have to offset you by $400, $500, and your children get $400 or $500, they won't receive a payment, but you'll receive your payment. And once your workers' comp stop, then we'll start paying the children. If you're going to be offset by $200 and the kids is due $300 or $400, we're going to offset the kids by the $200. You see where I'm going with that? So it's good you have to be honest and truthful, because it benefits you in the long run. Okay. Now, that's people filing for disability, okay? When you're getting Social Security disability already, so you're working, you're disabled, you haven't been working, you want to try and get back in the workforce, you're feeling a little better, yes, you can go back to work and still receive these benefits. Social Security have what is called a trial work period. And when you go back to work, you have 9 months where you can make an obscene amount. They don't care, but it's during 9 months, we will not count none of the earnings you make against your Social Security, because you're trying to go back to work. And it's not always guaranteed that a person can make it. So that's why they give you that 9-month trial work period where you can work and make as much as you can or want. After the 9 months, they will look, you let us know. After the 9 months, they're supposed to look and check to see if you, excuse me, y'all, I'm a little discombobulated. After the 9 months, anything that you make over a certain amount, that's when it'll start counting against your check. Okay. So for 2023, if you are working and you continue to work and it's past the 9 months work period, anything that you gross over $1,050 a month, they will start counting that against your Social Security. It will, you're not going to be due a payment anything over $1,050. Okay, that's the max you can earn and still get a payment. Now, what that does, I'm gonna be truthful. That little bit if you making $1,200 a month, now you're not gonna be due a Social Security check, but you only grossing $1,200 a month. So when you go out and you're trying to get in the workforce, go out and try and get a job that's gonna pay you enough money where you can live. I would not go to work at McDonald's or being a Walmart greeter because you're going to lose your benefits when you hit this $1,050 over that. So you making $1,600 a month. Now you're not going to get your Social Security check. Your check could be $2,000 a month, but you just lost your disability for the job that you took. And once we see that you're able to work, we will review your case and they're going to look at those years of work and earnings and stuff, and they'll come up to a determination. They may turn around and say, hey, we noticed that you've been working. We consider you no longer disabled, and they will do what's called dip cease. They will cease your benefits, and sometimes you will be overpaid because you weren't due checks in so many months during the time that you were working. You don't want to get caught up in that rabbit hole, So this is why I'm talking about Social Security disability. Great program. It's great if you really need it. But if you are trying to get back in the workforce, I would try my best to find a new career where I am making substantial income, not Social Security, what we consider substantial income, because that's not substantial income. Who can live off $1,100 or $1,200 a month? That's hard to do, not unless you live in a van, a car, an RV that you already have. But I try and tell people when I was in the agency, if you're going to try and go back to work, if you've always only worked at fast food restaurants and stores, I would rather go to school. I would rather go learn a new trade or take some classes, whatever, so that I can get a job or start my own business, making good income where when they cut off my Social Security disability, I'm able to live good. Or I can call them up and say, hey, I'm working now. Can you please terminate my benefits? Because you don't want your benefits terminated for $1,400 or $1,600 a month that you bringing home. It's just not worth it if you're disabled. And, that I hope you all understand what I'm trying to say. So that is the trial work period. I'll go over that again. For 9 months, you can make as much as you want and still receive your monthly Social Security disability check if you're already on Social Security disability insurance, okay? Anything after that, we look at it. Once you get over that threshold amount, which is $1,050 starting in 2023, you are not due a check in the month you exceed that amount. For 2022, that amount was $970. All right. Now, for a person that is blind, that was the trial work period. Okay. Once you come out the 9-month trial work period, this puts you in the amount, the $1,050 I'm telling you about, that puts you in your trial work period. Okay. Anything you're earning at $1,050 a month, that's how you get it, the trial work period started. That's when we start counting the 9 months against you. The trial work period amount is $1,050. Now, anything over that, the substantial gainful amount, once you're out of the 9-month trial work period, the cutoff for a non-blind individual is $1,470. I repeat, I'm making some corrections here. I'm looking at the numbers now. $1,470. That's after your 9-month trial work period. Trial work period starts at $1,050 a month. After 9 months, you making over $1,050, $1,500, $2,000, $5,000 a month, whatever. After that, what we consider substantial gainful work, when you are no longer due a disability check in that month, if you're not blind, okay, I repeat, if you're not blind, the amount is $1,470 a month. That's what we call substantial gainful activity. That means that is the cutoff. That is, you're working and we consider you as making a livable wage. That's the best way to put it. It is saying you're making a livable wage. Now, if you're blind, the amount is $2,460. See, the amounts is different depending on the disability. Non-blind disability people is $1,470. We would consider you making substantial living. Blind people, $2,460. Anything above that, you're not going to be due a check from us, okay? Now, once again, I hope you make sure, if you're disabled, it's expected to be disabled at least 12 months or more. That is one of the main criteria. When you contact Social Security, when you go online and you do that application and you submit that application, we will look at the application and we will let you know whether or not you are meeting our rules for disability, okay? I also want to go over a few other things here. Let me look and see. Like I said, I jotted down some notes. Okay, I guess. All right. Now, what we're going to talk about is SSI. SSI is stands for Social Security Supplemental Income. SSDI stands for Social Security Disability Insurance. And a lot of people get the two mixed up. They think they one and the same. Two totally different benefits. SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance, is what we just went over. That's where you've worked and paid in the system. SSI, Social Security Supplemental Income, that's the Based on Need program, where if you didn't work and pay in enough, or if your Social Security disability check is going to be below a certain amount, then you may be entitled to some SSI to get you to the federal level. Now, if the rules is the same, the application for supplemental disability income is the same application when you go online, okay? You're going to go online, you're going to submit it. They're going to see you're not entitled to the disability insurance if you didn't work and pay in the system, but they're still going to contact you, and then they'll do Social Security supplemental income application on you, SSI disability application, okay? So you still going to go online and file, and when we pull it in, if we see you are not entitled to Social Security disability insurance, then someone will contact you and take the Social Security supplement income application, disability application. Excuse me, guys. Now, there is a limit to how much money you can have when you file for the SSI disability, the Social Security supplemental income disability application. If you have resource limits, the resource limit for an individual, for one person, like if you're not married, you're a single individual, I don't care if you got kids or not, the resource limit that you can have is $2,000. If that means $2,000 in the bank. Anything over that, you're not going to be entitled. If it's a couple, the resource limit is $3,000. Remember, this is, even though those is low amounts, this is a based on need program. All right. So you can file for SSI if they find you disabled and you're only entitled to SSI, Social Security supplemental income, because you didn't work and pay in enough. For this year, a single individual who's disabled, they will get $914 federal dollars a month. Now, this amount can change depending on the state you live in. Some states will supplement and add extra money to your check because it's a higher paying state, such as California, New York, Hawaii. You know, those states used to give you little extra money because it costs more to live there. If you are a couple that's disabled, and we do have couples that's disabled, we have husbands and wives that are disabled. A couple, if you're married and living in the same household, your monthly amount will be $1,371 if you're approved for Social Security disability. I hope this have not overwhelmed you. This is beginning to be a long video, but I just got a little more I'm going to cover. All right. If you have questions, you can leave them in the comments field. If you have comments, you can leave it in the comments section of the vlog. Now, SSI, can you work and still get SSI? Yes. Depending on, there's a certain amount that you can earn. And after that, I think $60 if it's regular work. Once you make anything over $60 or something like that, I can't quite remember, then we start counting the funds against your SSI. Total about $85, I think, you can get. And after that, we start counting it against your SSI. So once again, you need to be mindful and pay attention to how much you're going to be making. Maybe you want to go to school and get an education or something, or a trade school, or learn a new job, or make sure you, or go out and find a job that if you feel you're able to work. And even if you go out and you get a job and you wind up losing your SSI, you'll have the medical benefits for up to 12 months still. If the job don't work out, if you're too sick and you can't do the job, then you just come back on to the rolls. They'll do a review of you and see, and normally you'll be able to get right back on if you're still disabled. And that's the reason why you can no longer work. Now with SSI though, if you are a student, you can work and you have a higher limit, much higher, because you're a student and you're trying to go to school and everything. You can make, your limit is $2,220. That is your monthly limit as a student. Your annual limit is $8,950. So before they start counting anything against you as a student, that's how much money we will exclude and let you keep before we count anything against your SSI. SSI, if you're on this is for people who's on SSI. This is what a student can do. The resource limits I gave you, we look at that as part of the application. So if you got, if you're an individual and you got $3,000-$4,000 in the bank, and when you bring in your documentation, because we're going to ask you for your bank statements and all that. When you bring those in, we're going to look and we're going to say, okay, you're over the resource limit, so you're not going to be entitled. So that's something that you need to be aware of up front. It's a lot more to it. This is just general information I'm giving you guys today. You can go to the website. It's not going to tell you everything either. The only person who knows how it all works is that claims rep in that office. Some of them now. I'm going to be honest. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, it's good to do your own research and everything as well. But I'm here for you. I'm just going to continue to kick out these vlogs as I go through all the things that a person may be entitled to when it comes to Social Security. This was the disability portion. I hope it wasn't too much. I'm going to stop here. I hope I gave you some valuable information and good information. If you know someone who is disabled, share my video with that person. Please subscribe. If this is your first time visiting my channel, hit that thumbs up button, that like button, so YouTube can start promoting my videos more in the algorithm. And I'm going to say it as always. Peace, love, and happiness is the only way to live. Now, don't forget, subscribe to Valita's World. And bye for now. Remember, you can always go to ssa.gov to get more information. Okay? Talk to you later.